name have in common? Regis lawyers. Lawyers who care, convenient, affordable, respectful, and experienced. For over 20 years, we have helped thousands throughout the Hudson Valley, New York City, and Long Island. We work 100% for the 99%. For a free consultation with an experienced attorney, call or text us at 212-766-1100. And yes, we speak Spanish.
Millennium TV 24. I am Kim Seabrook. You're watching the Good Looking News. And as you know what I like to do, I like to start off with what's going on right here in our city, New York City. So, unfortunately, we have a troubled teen. They set New York City apartment on fire. He jumps to death from the roof. So, a teenager who was suffering from mental illness jumped to his death on Saturday from the top of a Manhattan apartment building. He had apparently set on fire. Jamel Martinez, 18, started a fire in his 10th floor apartment at NYCHA's East River Houses on East 105th Street around 4:40 p.m. before jumping off the roof to his death. Police sources had stated that the fire was knocked down by FDNY, and the teenager had just been released from Bellevue Hospital about a month ago after battling depression. Martinez's grieving father, James White, told us that the father said he had pleaded with the hospital to not release his son, whom he has said had changed over the past couple of years. He said that the pressures of graduating from high school had weighed heavily on his son. "This is my son who did this. This is my son," said White, 53, while pacing back and forth outside of the scene. "He wasn't supposed to leave Bellevue Hospital. I told Bellevue Hospital not to release him, take him to a program where he could get his mind right." White, who doesn't live in the building, said that the hospital released him anyway, although he was on prescription medication. "He went through something where his mind just relapsed. He ran away from home," also White said. "He was on the news already for a missing child. He needed help. People do not take this mental thing seriously." White believes that his son's mental health issues may have been worsened by exposure to drugs and the street. Before decline and introduction to drugs, White said he was always into computers and technology. And next we'll move on to our story. Waldo's rescue pen left vulnerable dogs suffering. A dogfight has erupted between a Manhattan animal rescue and an ex-employee who claims the group left vulnerable pups suffering. Waldo's rescue pen founder Emily Dyson has already allegedly been fostering out seriously sick animals, and several have died on her watch. In one case, 4 puppies died together of the highly contagious but treatable canine parvo, said Michaela Mel, who is a former employee and board member. She said that she was treating them in whatever way that she could. They never saw a vet, Mel insisted. Dyson called the parvo deaths of the puppies heart-wrenching and said that she had been communicating with the vet, noting that the dogs had symptoms and they were not consistent with parvo. Mel, who is no longer with Waldo's, described an operation mostly run out of Dyson's Lower Manhattan apartment, where sick dogs allegedly didn't always get veterinary care, but adopters could be charged up to $550, typical of many rescue groups. Like many other small animal rescues, Waldo's periodically brings dogs from southern states where warmer weather and a lack of spay and neuter law means more strays, and that's up to the Big Apple. There have been at least 5 complaints filed with the State Department of Agriculture and Markets against Waldos, and that's according to records under the Freedom of Information law. Dyson slammed ACC for canceling its partnership with her, which she said came with absolutely no warning, notice, or reason whatsoever. Mel said Dyson was less than caring after one gruesome incident in which Mel was seriously mauled by a Waldo's rescue dog named Titan. The attack from Titan, a pit bull with known behavioral issues, left Mel with 30 stitches, severe scarring, and pain and numbness to this day. And let's see what we have next in Times Square. Times Square was stormed by anti-vaxxers protesting in New York City. Hundreds of people who are just not wanting the vaccine flooded Times Square for a polarizing protest on Saturday. The event included a pole dancer, a person who held a sign comparing the inoculation effort to the Nazis' mass murder of Jews. How did the Nazis do it? They said that the Jews were diseased, one woman's sign read. Social media images have shown all these images. The woman held in her other hand a picture of a swastika made out of syringes with the phrase, "What happened to never again?" And again, that's according to the images. American flags and less offensive signage with slogans such as freedom over fear and wake up New York were also on display in the crossroads of the world, pictures showed. Few in the crowd wore masks, as many demanded an end to the city's vaccine passport mandate. The protest came as more than 2/3 of all New York City residents have received at least one shot of the COVID-19 vaccine. And let's see what else is going on. East Harlem public schools closed after the COVID-19 outbreak. After being open only a week, a city public school in East Harlem is the first to cancel in-person classes after a COVID-19 outbreak among staffers. 19 people tested positive on Friday at PS 79 on East 120th Street, prompting officials to switch over to remote education. And that's the Manhattan Borough President, Gail Brewer, has stated. Also, my understanding is that there are enough cases of COVID that the Department of Education Situation Room has decided to close the school for 10 days until September 28th. In addition to 19 confirmed cases, 45 others were quarantined. The city's council education chair, Mark Triger, added, and the DOE said all of the cases were among staff. The health and safety of our school communities is our top priority, and we do not hesitate to intervene to stop the spread. We follow stringent guidance from health experts to prevent any further transmission by quarantining close contacts, closing classrooms, and, if necessary, entire buildings. Learning will continue during quarantine, and we will provide the school resources and support to have a successful school year, DOE Rep. Nathaniel Steyer said in a statement. And PS 79 is part of District 75, which provides specialized services to students with disabilities. Mask wearing has been a challenge for students, particularly those with sensory issues. And PS 79 serves over 250 students, grades 7 through 12, many of learners with autism, intellectual disabilities, or multiple challenges. And that's according to InsideSchools.org, and it's the first and only school that has a DOE temporary close for 10 days so far due to the spread of COVID-19. And across the city's traditional public schools, 372 classrooms were fully closed and 303 were partially closed as of Friday, according to the tracker. There were 812 cases of COVID-19 between September 13th and 17th, 487 students, and 325 staff members. And let's move on to see what else is going on in the city. The city tells students heading back to school to hop the turnstiles. This is insane. They have form letters, and a student by the name of Lamb, who relies on a school-issued MetroCard to commute to and from Manhattan's Baruch College campus high school, but on the first day of classes instead of a pre-loaded card to ride city transit. An advisor at her school handed Lamb a noted sign by the Office of Pupil Transportation. This student is eligible for a student MetroCard, but has not received it due to inventory issues, and that's what's stated on the note. Please allow the student to ride the subway and or bus with no MetroCard and no transit employees at the number 6 train station at 23rd Street to grant her access. Lamb had to slip under the turnstile to catch the train at home. Some subways, they don't have anyone there. So in order to use this, you have to have someone in the station and open the door for you, right? Right. So school started Monday in New York City, but some students who need free MetroCards to travel to and from schools are still waiting to receive them. And that means students like Lamb have to improvise at stations with no transit worker booths, raising concerns among some principals that students could end up in trouble with the police. Yes, this is definitely a fact. Parents and principals across the city say they've received the same form letters from the education department, but it's unclear how many still need MetroCards. So when asked how many students were awaiting their transit passes, the education department said Tuesday that there were actually no outstanding requests, and an official also said there were no shortage of cards. So this is a nightmare scenario, right? Because City Councilman Mark Traeger, who chairs the Education Committee, said that he heard from multiple principals who were worried that students jumping turnstiles for school transportation could have problems with law enforcement. Think about it, right? Your kid is going to school, there's nobody there to attend to them. They jump under there, a cop is hiding on the side and jumps to see what's going on and cause problems. But anyway, fare evasion enforcement happens disproportionately in the city's low-income communities that are predominantly Black and Latino, and that is a fact. So a good number of high schools did not get MetroCard deliveries, and one of the principals, when she contacted Central asking where they are, one of the answers she got was that there was like a shipment issue. So there was like a shipment issue, wow. And they were going to be shipped to schools within a week, he said. She said, "You are setting my kids up for a nightmare scenario." Traeger said that the deliveries seem to be flowing to schools as of Wednesday. Education Department spokesperson Katie O'Hanlon said that the letters given in lieu of MetroCards are accepted by the Metropolitan Transportation Authority and New York Police Department, and also that the department always alerts those agencies that students might be traveling without their passes. Schools might be missing transit cards for a number of reasons, including schools not submitting their MetroCard request on time, which is major, and eligible students without their MetroCard this week were provided a standard letter to get to and from school without paying out of pocket. But as a precaution, all principals have access to it for their eligible students, and we worked with our agency partners so it's accepted by the NYPDA and MTA. And full fare MetroCards are available to students living at least half a mile from school who aren't eligible for school bus service. But they are good for at least 3 trips a day between the hours of 5:30 and 8:30 p.m. Very, very interesting. But what we're going to do is go into a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. I'm Kim Seabrook. You're watching the Good Looking News on Millennium TV 24.
What does a Regis divorce, a Regis bankruptcy, and a Regis personal injury claim have in common? Regis lawyers. Lawyers who care, convenient, affordable, respectful, and experienced. For over 20 years, we have helped thousands throughout the Hudson Valley, New York City, and Long Island. We work 100% for the 99%. For a free consultation with an experienced attorney, call or text us at 212-766-1100. And yes, we speak Spanish.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
welcome back, and let's go into our next segment. You're watching the Good Looking News on Millennium TV 24. But this is a sad story. So day one of search for Brian Laundrie ends with nothing found. Northport police paused their search for Brian Laundrie in the Florida swamps at nightfall Saturday, while thousands of miles away, the search for his missing girlfriend, Gabby Petito, continued. They say our search of the Carlton is being called this evening due to darkness. Nothing found. Efforts will begin again Sunday morning, which is today. That's what the Northport police tweeted Saturday evening around 7:45 p.m. Laundrie refused to speak to police or Petito's family after he returned alone from a lengthy road trip with his girlfriend, who was reported missing on September 11th. Then he went missing too. Laundrie, 23, was last seen Tuesday when he reportedly never returned home from a hike in the area of the Carlton Reserve in the northern area of the city, which encompasses roughly 25,000 acres of wilderness. The first day of the search, which included 50 local agencies and the FBI employing drones and scent tracking K9 dogs, ended fruitlessly. Police began the search Saturday morning at the Mayakachi Creek Environmental Park, which is a 160-acre park connected to the marshy Carlton Reserve by a bridge where Laundrie was known to go hiking. Law enforcement trudged through difficult, wet terrain to begin their search, but it's muddy, it's wet. There are a few unpaved dirt roads that are out there basically running along the power lines. So you know it's a place that people hike, and there are mountain biking trails out there. Northport Police Department spokesman Josh Taylor said Saturday, adding that the search could take a long time. The park is the last place Laundrie's parents told investigators that he was seen after meeting with investigators due to discuss his appearance on Friday. Laundrie left his home on Tuesday with a backpack and told his parents that he was going for a hike in the area. His parents told police, and police are basing their search efforts on his parents' word. Police said that it's fair to say that Laundrie could potentially be a danger to himself or others. They couldn't say if he was armed or owned a gun. But police also stated that Laundrie was able to slip away because they were not tracking his every movement since he is not a suspect and has not been charged with a crime. So we were trying to keep an eye out on the kind of where he's at so that there could be the need where we could potentially reach him. Yes, but our focus was putting resources on trying to find Gabby, Taylor said, describing Laundrie's disappearance as certainly a twist. Taylor said that Friday's meeting with the family was only to discuss their son's disappearance, not Petito's. The FBI Denver seemed to be narrowing the focus of its search for the 22-year-old Petito near a campsite at Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. That's so they go on vacation, well, they go on a little trip, and he comes back without her and leaves again. So we'll keep you updated as the story unfolds. But next, New Haven cop, he was charged with killing fellow officer in Vegas DUI crash. A Connecticut police officer was charged with killing a fellow officer in a DUI crash in Las Vegas on Friday. New Haven officer Robert Ferraro, 34, was speeding in a 2020 Rolls-Royce with two fellow cops on board when he allegedly lost control and crashed into an occupied car parked in a private driveway. The Rolls-Royce then smashed into utility poles, landscaping, and a fire hydrant before overturning and ejecting front seat passenger Joshua Calistano, who was also a New Haven officer. Ferraro was charged with DUI resulting in death and reckless driving resulting in death or substantial bodily harm. He was held on a $100,000 bail, according to the station. And New Haven's acting chief of police, Renee Dominguez, described Calistano as always happy to be here. Officer Calistano served our community for 7 years. We're thankful for Officer Calistano's service. He will be greatly missed. New Haven Mayor Justin Alika reportedly said, in addition to the 3 officers, the mangled car had reportedly been carrying 2 passengers from Texas as well. And next, let's see what's going on. Haitians on Texas border, undeterred by U.S. plan to expel them, Migrants seeking to escape poverty, hunger, and a feeling of hopelessness in their home country, said that they would not be deterred by U.S. plans to speedily send them back, as thousands of people remain encamped on the Texas border Saturday after crossing from Mexico. Scores of people waded back and forth across the Rio Grande on Saturday afternoon, re-entering Mexico to purchase water, food, and diapers in Ciudad Acuna before returning to the Texas encampment under and near a bridge in the border city of Del Rio. The Department of Homeland Security said Saturday that it moved about 2,000 of the migrants from the camp to other locations on Friday for processing and possible removal from the U.S. Its statements also said it would have 400 agents and officers in the area by Monday morning and would send more if necessary. In Haiti, there's no security, said Fabricio Jean, who's a 38-year-old Haitian who arrived with his wife and 2 daughters. The country is in a political crisis. Haitians have been migrating to the U.S. in large numbers from South America for several years, many having left their Caribbean nation after a devastating 2010 earthquake. After jobs dried up from 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, many made the dangerous trek by foot, bus, and car to the U.S. border, including through the infamous Darien Gap, which is a Panamanian jungle. U.S. Customs and Border Protection closed off vehicle and pedestrian traffic in both directions Friday at the only border crossing between Del Rio and Ciudad Acuna to respond to urgent safety and security needs, and it remained closed on Saturday. Travelers were being directed indefinitely to crossing an Eagle Pass, roughly 55 miles away, and it is unclear of how such a large number of amassed so quickly, though many Haitians have been assembling in camps on the Mexican side of the border to wait while deciding whether to attempt entry into the U.S. And let's move on to our next story. Taliban run Kabul municipality to female workers. Stay home. Female employees in the Kabul city government have been told to stay home, with work only allowed for those who cannot be replaced by men. The interim mayor of Afghanistan's capital said that Sunday, detailing the latest restrictions on women by the new Taliban rulers. Witnesses, meanwhile, said an explosion targeted a Taliban vehicle in the eastern provincial city of Jalalabad, and hospital officials said 5 people were killed in the second such deadly blast in as many days in the Islamic State stronghold. The decision to prevent most female city workers from returning to their jobs is another sign that the Taliban, who overran Kabul last month, are enforcing their harsh interpretation of Islam despite initial promises by some that would be tolerant and inclusive. In their previous rule in the 1990s, the Taliban had barred girls and women from schools, jobs, and public life. In recent days, the new Taliban government issued several decrees rolling back the rights of girls and women. It told female middle and high school students that they could not return to school for the time being, while boys in the grades resumed studies this weekend. Female university students were informed that studies would take place in gender-segregated settings from now on, and that they must abide by a strict Islamic dress code. Under the U.S.-backed government deposed by the Taliban, university studies have been co-ed for the most part. On Friday, the Taliban shut down the Women's Affairs Ministry, replacing it with the Ministry for the Propagation of Virtue and Prevention of Vice, and tasked with enforcing Islamic law. On Sunday, just over a dozen women staged a protest outside the ministry, holding up signs calling for the participation of women in public life. A society in which women are not active is dead society, one side read. The protest lasted for about 10 minutes. After a short verbal confrontation with a man, the women got into cars and left. As Taliban and 2 cars observed from nearby, over the past month, Taliban fighters have broken up several women protests by force. And we're going to close this out with some more tips for you. I think this has been very helpful to a lot of viewers, and we're getting some great feedback. So let's put this out there, right? Tips for being more confident. because confidence is something that we all struggle with from time to time. We want to feel sure of ourselves, but those little whispers of self-doubt show up whenever we want to put ourselves out there, right? So what we got to do, we got to take some risk, or we got to try something new. They tell us to play it safe and do things the way that we've always done them to avoid getting hurt, embarrassed, or rejected. But you don't always have to listen to them, all right? So in fact, doing things your conscience deems unsafe or out of the norm is a great way to build your confidence. Cultivating confidence is the first step towards a healthy self-esteem and personal growth. But it isn't easy for most people. In order to foster confidence, you may have to do something that you've never done or think in a way that you haven't thought. But this could be scary, right? I know. But you know, the cognitive restructuring and adjusting behaviors are essential parts of many types of effective therapy. So to help you on your journey to become more confident, here are just some suggestions to get you started. What we're going to do first, we're going to face a fear. Fear is usually at the root of a lack of self-confidence. So when you're scared of the outcome of something, you aren't likely to go into it feeling assured until you face your fear head on. It controls you and makes the voice of self-doubt louder and louder. So think about a fear that you faced and recall how you felt afterwards. Perhaps you felt liberated and proud. You might have even wanted to do the things that you were afraid of again. So make a commitment to do something that scares you every day, once a week or once a month, and watch your confidence quickly grow. What else can we do? We could befriend failure. Why? Because if you haven't failed, then you haven't tried. Because in order to truly be successful, you have to be comfortable with the possibility of failure. That is so true. The more you fail, the more you learn and the more you grow. Accept your mistakes and use them to propel you forward. Why? Because failure often seems like the end of the road, but it's probably just the beginning. So once you accept the initial disappointment, you'll be able to move forward, better equipped to succeed the next time. Why? By taking risk and being willing to fail. You'll learn to believe in yourself and your capabilities. Next, we'll have doubt your doubt. Doubt is the enemy of confidence. It keeps us feeling uncertain and sometimes even makes us a bit cynical. So if you start doubting yourself, counteract it by doubting your doubt. Question the truth of what your doubt is saying to you. Okay, so perhaps your doubt is saying, oh, I'm really not good at this, but question those limiting beliefs whenever they arise. You'll likely realize that there aren't many facts to back up that doubtful assertion. And next, what we got to do, affirm your strengths, talents, and accomplishments. Those things are major. So people who lack self-confidence tend to focus more on their weaknesses than their strengths. Make a list of your strengths, your talents, and your accomplishments, because everybody has them. Be honest with yourself and try reading from this list daily to remind you of your greatness. Don't hesitate to write something like, I am beautiful and I am wonderful. For the women, and red lipstick on your mirror. But for the men, if you want to put a sticky note or even an alarm clock with something to remind you of how amazing you are. Though it may seem cliche, but it works. So we tend to believe in messages that we are constantly exposed to. Just ask an advertising executive. Your confidence is influenced tremendously by your daily thoughts, especially recurring thoughts. So consistency is key to lasting change. So if you want to be more confident, make a habit of reminding yourself of your unique gifts and your abilities. What else can we do? We can embody confidence. Fake it till you make it. That's what they say. You ever heard that phrase? Yes. So if you want to be more confident, feel more confident. That's what you got to do. When you find yourself feeling nervous and unsure, stop for a moment. Close your eyes and think of a time when you felt confident and self-assured. Use all of your senses to bring you back into that moment. In doing this, you'll be more able to cultivate that feeling in the present moment. Also consider your posture. Choose a body posture that looks and feels confident. Next, think about your clothing and your style. Dress to impress yourself. Dress in a way that makes you feel good. And if you look good to you, you'll feel good, and feeling good often leads to a higher self-confidence. But I also want you to keep in mind that you don't have to wear expensive clothing. You make the clothes don't make you. Always keep that in mind, okay? So listen to empowering music, right? If you don't have any empowering friends or something at that moment is not just getting you, throw on some music. Here's some great evoking emotion. When you want to feel more confident, turn on some music that lifts you up. So if you never use music to inspire motivation, here's some suggestions. These are not mine, but I do agree with them, right? So here's some songs. Eye of the Tiger. I know you know about Eye of the Tiger by Survivor. Ain't No Mountain High Enough by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. Yes. And then We Will Rock You. We Will Rock You. We Will. Yes, you know what I'm talking about, right? That's by Queen. Perfect by Pink. Happy by Pharrell Williams. I Will Survive. Indeed. Yes, by Gloria Gaynor. Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. I Feel Good by James Brown. Come on, you got to throw on some James Brown. You're going to feel good. Survivor by Destiny's Child. Just the Way You Are by Bruno Mars. Lose Yourself by Eminem. Just press play on one of these tracks and turn the volume up before a workout, a job interview, a date, or even some other event that requires you to summon confidence. Next, what can we do? Set a realistic goal and take action to achieve it. Why? Because your achievements contribute greatly to your feelings by self-confidence. By making a commitment and following through with it, you'll learn to trust yourself and your abilities a whole lot more. New habits take a significant amount of time, effort, and dedication to cultivate. So when setting your new goals, be realistic and make sure that your goals are attainable. Start slowly and set small goals that you can build on by following through with your commitments, no matter how small. You'll learn to trust yourself and what else? Gain confidence in what you're capable of achieving. And next, we're going to end it with this. Make a difference. Do something to give back and contribute to society. Consider volunteering or making a donation to your favorite charity. But just do something. Do something for someone else. Doesn't even have to be a major contribution. Even something just as simple as helping your elderly neighbor. Carrying her groceries will make you feel good. And what else? And more valuable. Yes. So by making a personal contribution, it reminds you that your individual choices have an impact on the world. Realizing your true significance as an individual will empower you and increase your feelings of self-confidence. So focus on one thing at a time and adjust a simple thought or a behavior, and it could go a long way towards building your confidence. And if you try to do too much at once, you may become overwhelmed. So just take it easy, all right? So remember that confidence is a state of trust, which, likely any therapeutic relationship is, takes time to build. So be patient with yourself and know that the journey begins with one step. Take baby steps, and before you know it, you will arrive at your destination feeling confident and capable. I am Kim Seabrook. You've been watching the Good Looking News on Millennium TV 24. Don't forget to download your apps on your iPhone, your Androids, your Apple TV, your smart TVs, Roku TV, your Amazon Fire Stick, and watch us. We appreciate the support. You continue to support us. We will continue to support you. Again, I'm Kim Seabrook. You've been watching the Good Looking News on Millennium TV 24. Thank you.